one of the most popular two-story plans offered by Drees Homes right here.
They say, oh my God, I see the way you shine. Take your hand, my dear, and place them both in mine. You know you stopped me dead while I was passing by. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time.
In this video, I'm walking you through a floor plan offered by Drees Custom Homes that has not been shown anywhere on the internet. At least I haven't seen it just yet. This is the Colinas II plan. It's built by Drees Custom Homes, and this specific home is over 4,700 square feet. It's a two-story plan that has 5 bedrooms, 4.5 bathrooms, and a 3-car garage. Now, if you like this home, it did sell by the time I got home and recorded this video, but there are homes for sale that are on this street, and there are lots down the street from here that have an incredible view off the back of the lot that you can build this plan in this community called Rough Hollow. Now, going right out to the main living area, as you can tell, we have great windows off the back wall, beams running across the ceiling, and like usual, we're going to start right here in the kitchen. Now, my name is Raj Sahu. I'm a realtor in Austin, Texas, and I've represented clients with 20 different builders. So I'll give you the perspective of walking these types of homes with so many different builders. And starting right here in the kitchen, they did two-tone kitchen cabinets to really make that kitchen island the focal point. And then they kept everything else very neutral. The exterior cabinets, this backsplash above this 6-burner gas stovetop that goes all the way up to this under cabinet vent hood. And if you like the upgrades in this home, again, it did sell, but Drees does have some inventory homes under construction that are about to finish in this neighborhood. But also you can build this plan from scratch and pick all of your design upgrades. So if you like this apron sink, you like the white and black look that's in this kitchen, then just piggyback off of this home that's already built out. But if you prefer other upgrades, other design touches, Drees has so many different options at their design studio. Now, we are going to show the pantry next, which has a Butlers pantry inside, and wait until we get outside in this home where we are backing up to a roadway, but there's some good mature trees in the backyard. And I want to hear from you on how you feel about trees in your backyard, because this is something that I feel like is very polarizing. And then later on, we will talk about the community that we're in, which is called Rough Hollow. And what I like about this community is I've had clients buy in this community around $1 million, but there are also custom homes in this neighborhood that go from $2 million all the way up to about $6 million. And so there's a very wide range of prices in this neighborhood. Now, we are back here in the living room. There is a floor outlet, which would be a perfect spot for a recliner. There is a separate entrance into a dining area, which is at the front of the home. There's also a study at the front of the home, but stick with me here in the living room. What I hear buyers say they like about living rooms like this is definitely going to be this fireplace. I love the beam running above that fireplace and the tile running all the way up to the ceiling. And I've had a lot of buyers love the idea of having a fireplace, even though here in the state of Texas, you're never really going to need a fireplace for warmth. And also, even if you have gas running to that fireplace, it doesn't really emit a bunch of heat, especially in those big living rooms. So while we're here in the primary bedroom, one thing I'll mention to you is that if you are thinking about putting in a fireplace, it's really for the aesthetic. And I've had so many buyers say they want to break up that wall in their living room. And because there's so many different design upgrades on the opposite wall in the kitchen, it's nice to have something that complements it. And some people feel like that fireplace design really complements all the upgrades that are opposite of that wall in the kitchen. Now, while we head over to the primary bathroom, and by the way, this primary bedroom was spacious with those tall ceilings, the tray ceiling, and those 3 large windows on the back wall. I'll mention, going back to the fireplace, I actually had a client buy an inventory home, which I'll explain what that means in a second. And it's because they saved a lot of money on that inventory home. We were able to negotiate the builder down. They're actually finishing up the community that we were buying in another suburb called Leander, Texas. And usually you don't see too much negotiating in Leander because inventory is starting to thin out. But what we did is we found a builder that was about to move next door to a very close by community, and they had a sense of urgency to just get all their inventory sold so they can move their resources over to that community. So we ended up buying an inventory home, and the advantage was even at the stage of construction it was in, we were still able to change the tile in the primary bathroom. So we had a lot of browns that were already in the tile in the bathroom. My client ended up changing it around to have more of like a white and black look. And we also were able to change the countertops in the kitchen. So we did a Calicut gold that had some little subtle pieces of gold in it, but these very strong veins running through it that they thought looked incredible. And so we were excited to change those things while still get a great price on an inventory home. But here's the tough part. We asked for a fireplace to get put in which that builder does a great job with a beam running across it, kind of similar to what you saw in that living room. But we weren't able to get that done. There just wasn't enough time for them to order the materials. They would have to stop construction for too long, and it just would have been too much on their back end to do. But there is a good ending to that story, which I'll tell you in a second while we're here in the primary closet, and then we're going to go back out to that main living area. The ending of that was we ended up having a pre-drywall meeting here recently with the builder, and that's just a meeting at the skeleton stage of the home where you can see all the framing right before they're about to put the drywall up. And at that meeting, we asked the construction manager what we could do after closing. And we figured out that running gas to that area would be too much. We'd have to rip out too much drywall. And also the gas meter may not be big enough if it's not already planned for a fireplace. So not something that we thought about when discussing with the construction manager. But here's the solution. There are great electrical fireplaces. Like I mentioned before, it's not like the gas heat is emitting that much heat anyway. The fireplace is mostly for aesthetics. So we got the name of the subcontractor from that builder to be able to do it after closing. And my clients love fireplaces so much. I know they're definitely going to do it, but let me know what you think about fireplaces in the living room. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments. What I hear buyers say they love about breakfast nook areas like this is I love that tray ceiling, and I love the windows off the back wall that make it feel like you're outside, like it's connected inside from outside. And I find so many buyers say they love that about homes. Sometimes they walk into an area and they just feel like this is so much square footage, and it's really the windows and the design and the ceiling height that's playing a role, because sometimes they're puzzled as to why they're getting that feeling. And that's a big reason why. I also like this patio space where they have an outdoor kitchen. I think Rough Hollow is a great example of a community in the Austin metro that gets people outside of their house enjoying the outdoors. And what I mean by that is they have trails that run through this community. They have a yacht club that is next to the river that runs through Rough Hollow, and that also provides so much beauty that's here in this area of Lakeway. So Rough Hollow is in a suburb called Lakeway. It's west of Austin, Texas. And what buyers tell me they say they love about this area is the beauty. They drive into Rough Hollow, they see the rolling hills, they see the Colorado River running through it, and they just ask themselves, where did I land? We didn't know that this was possible in the middle of Texas. And I know I said that when I moved here many years ago. I grew up in Pennsylvania where we did have hills, we had the Appalachians, and I just thought all of Texas was flat. And I was shocked to see these beautiful rolling hills. And that's exactly what I hear from people when they travel through this community. I also hear about the homes that are in this neighborhood. So for this specific home, we're in the second bedroom downstairs. I like that it's in the back left of the home. And if you like views, there are lots that have incredible views in this community called Rough Hollow. If you want a good example of that, I'm going to show you later on in the video a multi-million-dollar home that has an incredible view, and that will show you, number one, the types of homes that are here, and number two, the views that are possible in this community. Now, I want to be clear, you don't have to buy a multi-million-dollar home to be in Rough Hollow. There are homes for sale under $1 million. In fact, on my channel, I will be posting one of those in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. Now, in this bathroom, I like that we have an in-suite full bathroom off of this bedroom down. I say it in almost every single video. This is one of the pain points that I hear from so many buyers where they say they have to have a second bedroom downstairs. And that's when I see people that are building some of these plans from scratch, and sometimes it's an option in some floor plans to put a second bedroom down. And I'm seeing these homes, $1 million homes, that don't have that second bedroom down. And I do think some of those people will be in trouble when they go to resale. It does depend on the community. I'm not going to try to make a blanket statement that covers, thousands and thousands of homes. It obviously depends on a few variables, but I'm finding it is very important. Now, right now, at the time I'm posting this video, I'm looking at Drees' website, and the Colinas II does have that second bedroom down. And generally speaking, I've seen Drees lean in on having 2-bedroom down and a study down to really cater to what buyers want in this current market. Now, on this side, we do have a powder bathroom, and then we're going to look at the utility room next, and then we're going to head back to the front of the home. There's still so much to see here. Even upstairs, we have a game room and lots of things to still see in this plan. Now, what I want to get back to is the inventory home that I was mentioning earlier that one of my clients bought on one of their forever homes. And I have so many buyers that are struggling to figure out, should they buy an inventory home or should they build from scratch? And while we're in this utility room, which has this very cool tile and has accessibility to a 1-car garage in that door that we're going to get to next, and then it also has access to a 2-car side entrance garage in this utility room. While I show you that, I'm going to explain the difference between inventory homes and building from scratch. Now, inventory homes, there's different names for it. Some people call it a QMI, which is a quick move-in. Builders like Drees call it like a market home. They're all really the same thing. It's a home that is under construction, that they've already picked the upgrades on, and they're already at some sort of stage in construction. Now, sometimes with some builders, if it's at an early stage in construction, you might be able to still make some changes at the design studio. Like I mentioned earlier, my clients changed their countertops in their kitchen and the tile in their bathroom, but there are other things that we weren't able to change. So it just depends on the builder as well as the stage of construction. Now, the reason why those inventory homes tend to be more negotiable is because if that home is towards the end of completion, or like I mentioned earlier for that client, the builder I knew was trying to move their resources over, and that's why I told them, hey, we should consider going in on that option that they really like. This could be a good time, being that the builder is about to move to the next community in about 4 weeks. There are opportunities like that where the builder says, hey, we need to get the buyers under contract here so we can move on to the next community. Or they might say, hey, we don't have a buyer on this home and it's near completion. We really need to provide an incentive to get buyers in. And these are the types of opportunities my clients are struggling with, to be frank, because there's always a compromise on some of these homes where there might just be a shade of color that they don't like, or they like the flooring, they like the countertops, but they don't like the cabinets. And then we have to get a quote for refacing the cabinets. Or I even have a home right now where somebody fell out of contract on it. They did base level flooring. So it's like the square tiles everywhere in the home, and then carpet, even in like the living room. And now we had to get a quote for my clients to do that after market, and we're evaluating that compared to building from scratch. Now, the advantage is for those inventory homes, you get what you see, you're a little bit firmer on your timeline, and you usually get a better price. But the problem is there's compromise on what you get. When you build from scratch, it takes more work, it takes more time, there's a lot more choices, but you get more of what you want. And that's what I tell a lot of my buyers. It's more work for me and it's more work for you, but it's usually worth it if you're willing to go through with it. If you're not, then we just have to go to inventory homes. Getting back into the plan, this is going to be a look at the Butlers pantry. I like how big these cabinets are. Opposite of that Butlers pantry is more closet space. And then we saw the dining room prior to this, where I like that light fixture. And this closet's good. It goes underneath the stairway, which I always like when builders do that. Speaking of closets, what I always tell clients is consider what you're planning on doing after closing. So one of my clients, the pantry space felt tight to them, not in this home, but a different builder, different plan. And so we asked the builder to remove the shelves so that they could do an after pantry closet build out. And they also did the same thing in their primary closet. And that's actually the most popular place where people love doing build outs there. I've also had people say in their study they want to do aftermarket furniture here. By the way, I love that window with the curve in it. Just provides that custom touch I think so many buyers are looking for. And even just to look out to the front of this home, you can start to see the homes that are built here. It's incredible. This home does not have this space enclosed. So technically they might call this like a flex space rather than a formal study that would have double doors on it. But Drees on their website currently lists this as a study. So there is an option if you are building this plan from scratch, from what I'm seeing, to add doors to that study. And there are also some other structural upgrades I'm seeing on their website. Currently, these things can change over time. One of them is a dog wash area in the utility room, which I think is such a fun upgrade. Love dogs. I grew up with the dog, and I always think of him when I think of that upgrade of a dog wash studio. Now, as we get to the top of the steps here, we are met with a game room that looks off the back wall, and that's where you notice a lot of the greenery that's back there. We also have a media room that is an upgrade currently, where you can add square footage to the home, get that extra media room space, which we'll see in this second floor. And then we also have 3 bedrooms up here. So while we go through this, I'll tell you a little bit more about Rough Hollow, why I think people consider this area. And one of them is one of the big employers called AMD. And AMD is, I think, NVIDIA, its competitor, is getting a little bit more of the headlines because of its AI chips. But AMD is also making some waves, and I have a lot of people that are reaching out to me moving here that work at AMD. And what they tell me is AMD being in the Southwest corridor, which is different from a lot of the tech companies here in Austin, they want to look at communities like this and maybe a couple of other communities. But they're a little bit more limited than what we have in North Austin. For a lot of my buyers in North Austin that work at Amazon and Apple and Google or work from home and want to be around the tech growth that's there in Austin, they tend to go into North Austin. And there are some other communities that Drees builds this floor plan in. Drees does a great job of going around the Austin metro and building in these high-end communities that have a lot of different price points. And they have price points that are very reasonable, very deep into North Austin. But when you go deep into North Austin, sometimes that's still very reasonable for a commute to some of these big tech companies. For example, one of my buyers was just looking at Drees in a community in a suburb north of Austin called Georgetown, and we did the commute, and it was about 35 minutes to Apple. And for them, you know, they're on a hybrid, so they go to the office, I think, like 3 days a week. That was a good option to entertain, and there's lots of options like that in North Austin, just because a lot of that growth has been recent in North Austin. It's really following this 183 highway corridor. That highway just continues to get extended north. Here in the area, Lakeway's been built out for a while, for a couple decades even. So these areas like Rough Hollow are big master plan communities. There are people that have been buying in this community for the last decade and just keep buying, you know, every 3 to 4 years. So there are, it's a different area out here where it's a little bit more established, but also, and this is the big kicker, is trying to get through these hills is difficult. And that's what I think a lot of people need to evaluate. I have a few people that have bought and they work at AMD, and they asked about traveling from North Austin. I just told them trying to take 620, which goes through the hills. It's a beautiful drive. I actually live almost right off of 620. And when I take that down south into Lakeway, it is tough during rush hour because it's a very, it's not a huge highway. They can't build huge highways through the hills here. It's not like we have tunnels. It's not like we have big interstate systems through the hills. And for that reason, it does get built up with traffic. And so that's why I always tell people, if you're looking at commuting to AMD, even if you're on a hybrid, I would definitely consider that commute can be brutal when you're looking at communities in North Austin. And that's why people come here to Rough Hollow. There's a great lifestyle here, there's beauty, there's incredible homes, but there's also close by employers like AMD. And obviously that's just one employer, but that's who tends to reach out to me. I have a lot of software engineers, a lot of clients in tech that reach out to me, and I tend to know where these master plan communities, where the best options are. And that's something I do for a lot of my clients. I build out these buyer boards through a software platform called Trello, and I show them all these different options on Trello so they understand what their price points look like. Going back to a conversation we were having earlier about an inventory home versus building from scratch, the toughest part I have that I hear from people when they're evaluating building from scratch is what's the final price point. And they also don't know who to believe because not Drees, but another builder, I had a builder say, hey, there's a certain floor plan. I was in their office and I heard them saying to somebody, you can get this plan around $850,000 to $875,000 when you add in all these upgrades into base price and lot premium and all these different things. And I heard that and I thought to myself, I just had somebody close on that exact same floor plan with the upgrades that are shown in the model home structurally, and they didn't do as much in design, and they landed at $960,000. So there's no way that you're gonna get that home, that plan, $110,000 lower. And that's why I always tell people, this is where it's really important to bring on a realtor that can represent you and represent your interests. And it's so important to get that unbiased perspective, because everybody's going to sell you on them that they're the best. But what I always tell people is your realtor should be able to advise you in an unbiased way and tell you what your best options are, and also tell you based on their experience what the pros and cons are of every builder, every community, and every area around Austin. Now, what I want to be clear on is, yes, I am a realtor, but I don't think you should always work with me. What I always tell people is I'm not afraid to send you to a realtor partner who I think is a better fit for you, because your criteria, which is your price point, your location, or just what you want for your home, it could be a better fit with another realtor. And actually, the majority of people who reach out to me, I connect them with one of my realtor partners because I think they're a better fit working with them. And that's the difference with me. I only want to take on the client that I know I can provide so much value for. And if I don't believe that, then I'm not afraid to send you to somebody else and provide you a great recommendation. Now, if you need help with that great recommendation, you want to understand what all your best options are, reach out to me. My number's at the bottom of the description of this video. Shoot me a text introducing yourself, and I will reach out to you when I can. Now, when it comes to homes for sale, that's what so many people are asking me. What are the pricing? What's the pricing look like in the Austin Metro? That's going to be on my website. It's at the top of the description of this video, and that will be all videos of homes that are actually for sale. Now, if you want to see that custom home for sale that I was telling you about with that incredible view, click on the left side of your screen. And as always, hope this helps. Take care, everybody.